Hi everyone. In this video we're going to talk a little bit about Project One, which is a resume and cover letter, and some of the expectations I will have for you for this project. Okay, so this project is, as I said, resumes and cover letters, and for this project you will be required to identify a specific employment position or opportunity, like a grad school, fellowship, or award, and create a cover letter and resume targeting that position or opportunity. And the thing I think you need to think about with a cover letter and resume, they're representations of a particular facet of your identity. In this case, the professional facet of your identity, which is something that some of us may have to develop and is always continually in development. But in creating these documents, you really should be mindful of the conventions and expectations of your readers, who would be potential employers, professors, or benefactors in the case of an award. And remember, you're going to be talking in a particular language and adopting a particular tone that is particular to this genre. So to get started on this project, what you want to do is begin by doing some research regarding a realistic position or opportunity for which you might apply. And you want to take note of the word realistic. You don't want to attempt to create material for a position or opportunity completely outside your sphere of experience. Now, this doesn't mean you have to lowball it. But, you have to consider where you are in your career, where you are in your education, where you are in your skill set when you're applying for a particular job or award or fellowship. And depending on what you have determined to be a realistic next step for you professionally, you want to create a new resume or curriculum vitae, in the case of academia, that will be appropriate for this particular position. And you're going to want to research the culture and values and beliefs and practices of the field and the specific company or organization to which you're applying. A good way to do that is look at mission statements, focus on the job expectations and duties for the position. You can also conduct research on Glassdoor. Google is your friend with this project. So, I don't know, for those of you who aren't familiar with Glassdoor, it talks about, it's a website that talks about corporate cultures and what it's like to work at particular companies and what one might expect in terms of salary and that sort of thing. And it's a pretty good resource for determining like the culture of a particular organization. But we'll be discussing that more in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so let's talk about the cover letter. When you're crafting an appropriate cover letter, you need to not only follow kind of the superstructure of a letter in an appropriate manner, but we're going to be discussing a lot of rhetorical moves throughout our course lectures and in your discussion sections. Remember, you're trying to be persuasive in this letter. You're trying to connect to the audience in this letter. And you're going to want to know about the culture and the values and beliefs and practices, etc., of the overall field and to the specific organization to which you're applying. And you're also going to want to know what activity or recent achievement or value or goal with respect to the organization you can sort of highlight in your opening. Praise yourself, essentially. And think about how this praise frames what you want to say about yourself and your professional identity. You don't want to go making things up, but you don't want to undersell yourself either. The cover letter is what gets you in the door. And the resume is there to sort of back that up. And many of you probably already, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but it sort of like bears repeating sometimes, I think. So you also want to consider what you've been able to find out about the specific requirements of that position, or what you can reasonably deduce about the skills that might be required in that position. You have to talk about how you can demonstrate that you have these qualifications in a way that your readers will appreciate. You want to connect to your organization through the cover letter, which means you don't want your cover letter to be sort of a reiteration of your resume. This doesn't mean don't put any information on your cover letter that can't be found in your resume, but it does mean, like, you have to, and we're going to talk about this in the next coming weeks. Frame it, spin it in such a way that's not just, I did this, this, and this. You want to connect what you do in your resume with who you are as a person and as a worker, and how this might benefit the company in your cover letter. That's what the cover letter tends to be for. So. Okay, so once you have gathered as much information as you possibly can, then you should begin drafting your documents. And to do this well, we're going to be talking a lot about document design, like alignment and proximity and repetition and contrast and all sorts of fun graphic design words, as well as text, as well as the argumentative persuasive skills we're going to be discussing. And resumes and cover letters use different conventions, okay? The audience approaches both of these genres with different expectations. So you're going to remember that when you're making your documents. I mean, you're going to remember, a resume is kind of, it's an amped up laundry list of all your accomplishments. It's the what. And the cover letter is the how. The cover letter is the how, and it's also who. And it is a much more personal, I guess you could say, flesh and blood glimpse into who you are as a worker, as a person, as a potential employee or student. So, these are things you're going to want to consider when you are actually drafting your documents. And I would put to you that you don't want to start necessarily drafting your documents until you've found out as much as you can about the company or opportunity for which you're applying, because we're not, if I wanted you to write generic cover letters, I would just say, copy this template, but that's not what we're here to do. We're here to dig deep into this and possibly, come to understand a bit more about what companies are going to want. Because someday, if you haven't already been in that position, you might be in that position. And you might be working in HR, and you might, come to learn, like, this is what folks are looking for in resumes. So I think, whatever sort of angle you take with this assignment, it will eventually, even if you're not necessarily going on the job market immediately, be a good opportunity for you to learn more about, from an insider's perspective, what companies want, which will stand you in good stead no matter where you are in your career. Okay, so there are 4 things you are going to submit for this project, and you will submit all these materials for both of these submissions. You will submit 1, the job or fellowship or award advertisement or listing, your resume, your cover letter, and a courtesy email to the contacts listed on the ad or to HR. The rough draft of this project will be due Friday, February 5th by 11:59 p.m. And the final draft will be due a week later on Friday, February 12th by 11:59 p.m. And we will continue to, discuss this online. We'll talk about, giving your peers appropriate feedback and other, discussion board posts that will tie into this assignment that will help sort of, buttress your creation for this project. So, But that is kind of the bare bones of what I'm going to be expecting you to do, and I will post an assignment sheet on Canvas, so you'll have that available as well. And if you have any questions, always email me, and I will get back to you in a timely manner. Okay, thanks so much.